Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman. Today we're learning a new, more advanced method for counting the beat while reading rhythms. Once you know this more advanced method, you'll be ready for today's rhythm challenge. So let's come to the heartbeat mat to get started. You're already familiar with the fact that quarter notes each take up one full beat. Ta, 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 ta. But eighth notes can fit two inside one beat. They share the beat. T, 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 T. Now, let's learn a more advanced method for counting the beat called counting a subdivided beat. In music, subdividing a beat means to split it into equal parts. For example, eighth notes subdivide a beat in two equal parts. And 16th notes subdivide a beat into four equal parts. Well, today we're going to subdivide each beat into two equal parts, like this. Let's also give ourselves a 4/4 time signature, which means we'll count each beat up to 4, then we'll need a bar line. And then we count again starting at 1. So before we would count the beats like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But now that we're subdividing the beat, we're going to call the first half of the beat by the beat number 1, and then the second half of the beat we're going to say and for each second half, like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Can you try that with me? Let's point to each beat and we'll say the beat number when we're on the first half of the beat, and then we'll say and for the other half. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Correct. Now, let's try counting the subdivided beat while we clap this rhythm. You'll notice that I replaced the bar line here with a repeat sign, which means once we get done with beat 4, we'll go back to beat 1 and do it one more time. Let me demonstrate what this would sound like once. While counting the beat out loud, we clap 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, will you try it with me? Clap while you count the subdivided beat out loud. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great, let's try another one. Okay, I'll demonstrate it once and then you can try it with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Ready to try it with me? Good. This time, to cue us when to start, I'm going to use our time signature. Since we have 4 beats, I'll count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we begin. In fact, why don't you count it with me? So we call that an empty measure that we count before we begin. Here's the empty measure. Count it with me. Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Good! You're counting a subdivided beat. Let's try another one. This time we have a half note. Remember, half notes take up 2 full beats. So with our subdivided beat, it would take up 1 and 2 and then we keep going on 3 and 4 and. A quarter note takes up the first half of a beat and the second half of a beat. Takes up the 4 and the and. I'll try it once by myself, then you can join me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now try it with me. Count our empty measure and then we start. Go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Great. Now, here's a new one for you. Remember that when we draw 2/8 notes with flags, it makes the exact same sound as if we were to draw them this way. 2/8 notes with a beam, 2/8 notes with a flag. They sound identical. T, T, or 1 and. So this rhythm would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When you have a rest and you're counting the beat, you still count it. Remember, this beat is still there. 2 and. There just happens to be silence during that beat. So we won't clap, but we'll still count the beat to show that it's still taking up time in the music. So count out loud with me while we clap. Here's the empty measure. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, let's add a new kind of rest. It's called an 8th rest, and it looks like this. It takes up half of a beat, just like an 8th note does. In fact, if you were to add 2 8th rests together, it would equal a quarter rest. So this quarter rest makes the same sound as 2 8th rests, a full beat of silence. For fun, let's change our time signature now to 2/4, which tells us we'll have 2 quarter note beats in each measure, which means we'll need another bar line here and here. Now let's try clapping some rhythms using 8th rests. Here's a rhythm made up of all 8th rests and 8th notes. So every rhythm that you see takes up exactly half of a beat. We have the 1 and the and of 1, the 2 and the and of 2, the 3, the and of 3, the 4, the and of 4. This rhythm would sound like this: 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Remember, whenever you have a bar line, that's a signal that the next beat will be 1. We only have 2 beats in each measure. Now, I didn't do the repeat sign, but when we do it together, we'll take the repeat. Okay, let's try it together now. We'll count an empty measure of 1 and 2 and, since we're in 2/4, and then we begin. Try it with me. Count out loud and clap. Here's the empty measure. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Great job! Now here's a new rhythm for you. Now you'll notice in every beat we have a rest on the first half of the beat, an 8th rest I should say. Then on the second half of the beat we have an 8th note. So it will sound like this: 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. We call this kind of rhythm a syncopation. Syncopation is when you have notes occurring primarily on the second half of the beat, or what we're calling the and of the beat. Now, count the empty measure with me and let's try it. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Great job. All right, let's try this rhythm. What happened? That's right. All the 8th rests and notes have traded places. Now we have the note on the number part of the beat, and the rest is happening on the and. Let's try it. Go ahead and try it with me. We're going to count the empty measure and then clap and count. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Here's one more rhythm with 8th rest to try. Take a look at it, see if you can figure out what's happening, and then we'll try it together. Get your hands in position to clap and count with me. Here's the empty measure. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Good job. Now, before we go on, is there another way we could have drawn this beat to make it still sound the same? That's right. We could have just drawn with a quarter rest. It would sound the exact same as before with 2/8 rests. What about in this beat? Is there anything we could have drawn in there to give us the same sound? That's right. We could have just used 2 beamed eighth notes instead. What about in this beat? That's right. That's another place we could have used a quarter rest instead. And the rhythm would have sounded the exact same as before. Now, one more rhythm we need to look at before we take the rhythm challenge is the dotted quarter note. You might remember this rhythm from Ode to Joy. We had ba, ba, ba in that piece that we learned. Now, what we didn't talk about is that a dotted quarter note takes up exactly 1.5 beats. Or maybe we did say that. But now that you know how to count a subdivided beat, it will make even more sense. We have 1 and then because of this dot, it extends halfway into beat 2. So we say 2 without doing anything because this note is still going. And then on the and of 2, we have a note to clap. So it would sound like this: 1 and 2 and. You have to extend this all the way through 2, and then on the and we clap. Let's try just clapping this measure together. Can you count the beat with me? Ready, go. 1 and 2 and. One more time. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and. Now let's try this full line, these 2 measures of rhythm with the repeat. Count the empty measure with me. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and. 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 Great. You're ready for the rhythm challenge. All right, here's your first rhythm challenge. For this, what you're going to do is take a look at all the notes and try to clap the rhythm while you count the subdivided beat out loud. You're going to do it by yourself without my help. Then, once you've tried it, I'll show you the correct answer and you can check and see how you did. Okay? So go for it. Try to clap this rhythm while you count the subdivided beat. All right, here's the correct answer. It should sound like this: 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. How'd you do? If you got it right, then let's go on. Otherwise, you can always rewind and try it again. Here's your next rhythm challenge. Give it a try on your own, and then I'll show you the correct answer. Here's what it's supposed to sound like: 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Here's your next challenge. Give it a try. Here's what it sounds like: 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Here's your next rhythm challenge. Give it a try. Here's the answer. We have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Great job today learning how to count a subdivided beat so you could rock on today's rhythm challenge. For more advanced practice with eighth rests, dotted quarter notes, and our other rhythms, you can download the materials for this lesson from our website. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Phew, I'm tired. Everybody take a rest. Hey, what are you guys doing? You're taking all the eighth rests. You did say everybody take a rest. Oh, I get it. I suppose I did. Well, there's no rest for the weary. I'll take note of that. Hey!